Give everybody just a second or two to jump up on here. Let me get the comments set up here. All right, there we go over there. YouTube is live. Facebook is live. Wow, y'all are already jumping on Facebook. All right, we'll just give everybody just a second before we start going. Melissa's back on YouTube moderating. I don't know if anybody's going to be over here on Facebook moderating tonight or not, but we'll try to catch anybody that acts like a troll or whatever. We need to play nice. Somebody said there's no sound. Joy, you're going to have to check your volume or get out and come back in. All right, let's see where we're going to go with this thing. I do not know. They keep saying every time I turn around, Fox News is getting ready to have an update. But there's never an update. I looked all day. Saturday, there was a lot of, what should we say, action going on at her home. The police, the FBI was back out at her home. Sunday was quiet. Today was quiet as far as I can tell. Today at 5 o'clock their time, 5 o'clock their time was supposedly the ransom note deadline. But I got a lot of problems with that. With that ransom note, y'all. I guess I was watching it right up until 7:30. Somebody was live in front of their house, and they thought the police was going to come and do a press conference and all this. But she didn't. No, I mean, he didn't. The police did not. Let me see, I'm just trying to give everybody a few seconds to jump on here. The one thing that happened today, Savannah did release a new message. Looked like she put some makeup on. She had some lipstick on, and she kind of did it in her own voice. It wasn't so much the message 1 and message 2 was specific things in it that people really don't talk like that. So I don't know what the FBI had her say, those kind of weird things. Like one thing, we want you to come home so we can celebrate you. I mean, that's not something you would normally say in a sentence. So that kind of struck me as weird. Why would you say, we can't wait for our mom to come home so we can celebrate her? So at this point, what don't make sense? This whole case don't make sense. Let me just say this. The whole case does not make sense. Anybody that you, that comes on to try to kind of analyze something, this case is so far from the ordinary. First of all, kidnap for ransom really does not happen in the U.S. It happens a lot in other countries. That's the norm in other countries. But in the USA, that is not, it's very far out of the ordinary. The second thing is, with the ransom notes, they're usually sent to the family or the police department local there, because if they got mama and they want money, they're going to act fast to make this exchange. They're not going to let this drag on. They want to act fast. So the weird thing about it is, with the messages that supposedly, the captors have, they don't give the family, first of all, they sent it to the radio station or news station or whatever you want to call it. They didn't even send it to the people. But they have not told the people, the family, they haven't told the family if she's alive. They haven't proved that she's alive, and that's like the number one thing. They have to show proof that the lady's alive before the family's going to act. They're not going to give you $6 million if you can't show proof that mama's alive. So that's right there weird. The second weird thing is they do not tell the family how to contact them. So you can't just sit around and keep making deadlines when you have not gave a way for, for the family to contact you back. So this whole thing is weird. It could be, I don't know what it's orchestrated. The FBI's on it though. So that's another thing, what happens. We were used to getting updates daily, right? When it first happened, the sheriff and them were out there and they kept doing little press releases and they would give you little tidbits. They didn't tell you everything, but they told you tidbits because the public demands to know. The public, once the FBI got there, we have not really been told anything. And that's how the FBI works. They are not going to tell you anything because they don't have to. They are there for two reasons. First reason is to bring mama home. The second reason is to catch whoever did this. So that's their two main objectives, and that's what they're going to work on. They're not going to work on trying to please reporters and people. I'm sure they're keeping the family, working closely with the family, the people who have a need to know. That's a big thing in the government. Do you have a need to know? If you don't have a need to know, you're not going to be told anything. And that's how the FBI works. So they're not. So it doesn't surprise me that we're not getting updates. Just because you're not getting an update doesn't mean anything isn't happening. Somebody said they should do polygraphs. We don't know if they did polygraphs or not because they're not going to tell that stuff. A lot of times they start with the family or those closest in the circle that last saw her. They will start there, polygraph everybody so they can start eliminating people. That's what they do. They're going to talk to anybody who's had access to the house. Housekeepers, help, gardeners, plumbers, any work that had been done at her house, anybody who's come and went. Because she wasn't that mobile, maybe she's had help cleaning or something like that. Maybe somebody knows somebody. But most of the time, I don't think we're going to find that it's somebody like that because first of all, I don't know if these ransom notes are even legitimate. I have my doubts about the ransom notes. If somebody took her for money, they would have contacted, so I don't know. Somebody's talking about the Epstein files and the Clintons and, stuff like that does happen. One time, a friend told me to Google how many people have ended up dead that had connections to the Clintons. And so I did, and I was astonished because I didn't know. I mean, I don't follow a lot of politics and stuff. But anyhow, who knows? Whoops. trying to see these. These comments are coming up so fast. Well, and a lot of people, here's what happened with a lot of people saying that the sheriff let, they roped off the house, they did their investigation. The sheriff there is not used to any kind of a weird case like this. I mean, this is far-fetched case that just doesn't happen every day. So they don't have the expertise in that town that the FBI has. They have limited, I'm sure they have good detectives and everything like that, but it's going to be limited when it comes into cybersecurity and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be limited on that kind of stuff. So, so the police came there, the sheriff and whatever, and they did their swoop of the whole thing, and they looked for everything they could, and then they took the things down. They had no idea that the FBI they had no idea what kind of a case this was when they first started. Nobody knew a week ago what was going to be going on there today, that it was going to be so far-fetched. They just thought, there was some foul play, and, they would find something real quick, and, but this is the strangest kind of a thing that ever happened there. So that's why the police there released it, and and really when they released it, they didn't have like a bunch of people traipsing all over the property looking for clues. They have a security person there. They're not going to let you go traipsing around. So I don't think the whole property got contaminated. So what happens when the FBI and a lot of these services that have expertise in them, they when they got there, they don't just take your word for it. They don't just look at the sheriff and the sheriff said, "Oh, we already looked at everything." They start from scratch. And they have the best of the best in the FBI, and they're going to come in and they're going to secure it all off again, and then they're going to do their thorough investigation. They're not going to take anybody's word for it because they have to answer for what they're looking for. So that's why they didn't release it too soon or anything like that. Nobody knew that the FBI and all that was going to get involved. So that's why that happened. I don't know if there was a blood trail after. Somebody's asking about the blood trail. I don't know. It was at the front door, and it appears that she stood at the front door for a few seconds, or anyways. Maybe they was shifting around trying to, keep her upright or whatever. But they believed that she did walk out the front door, and that's why the few drops of blood's there. Now, was there a trail out through the gravel? It looks like a little pea gravel or something out there. And I don't know. They don't tell everything. They don't tell anything. And like the camera being ripped off, the Ring camera or whatever ripped off the front porch or the front door. They could have done that because they were in the house so long, they may have ripped that camera off and then waited to see if any police came or if anybody showed up. They maybe hid. They could have taken that off because Nancy would be in there sleeping and wouldn't know nothing going on. So they probably ripped that camera off and then waited to see if anybody showed up, because they don't know if her Ring camera was going to the daughter and the son-in-law and like if this, give me an alert. They don't know if anybody's going to show up. So they probably waited 20 minutes or something to see if anybody's going to show up. And then that's when they got Nancy up, probably because the time frame that they gave us, and then her watch disconnected and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, somebody said something about her nose could have been bleeding. It looks like it fell from somewhere. It could have fell from her arms. She has had little picks on her arms before because I've seen Band-Aids in some of them pictures. Yeah, Yeah, she did. Somebody's saying she didn't have a Ring subscription. The way Ring works, it will send it to her phone. However, once the camera's gone, you can't go and look because it didn't go up to the cloud. So there was no saving it to the cloud. It just goes to her phone. So if somebody picks her phone up and looks, it has to attach to the device right there in the house. If the device is gone, they can't attach to nothing. So let's see. Yeah, she can stand and she can walk. She walks with a cane. Yes, she was probably on a heart blood thinner, so that's why if she picks her arm or something like that. But it is a very sad situation, but there's a lot going on, but there's a lot they are not telling us. And the reason they do that, because this is an active crime scene. So the FBI probably knows a lot. And lately they're out there, Saturday they was out there lifting the lid off of a manhole, looking down in the sewer. Because y'all know that one case, they dumped the body down in the sewer. Or if he ripped the camera off, he could have threw that in the sewer. You know, they don't want to carry that stuff with them, because if they got pulled over and they seen that, you know. Somebody's asking, why didn't they have better security? I have no idea. She lived in that house for a long time. That's where her and her husband lived. That's where they raised their kids. And a lot of times people just stay in their own house because they're familiar with it. And so I don't know why they didn't have better security. I wouldn't think money would be an issue, that they would have the best security ever, but yeah. And the whole thing about the other thing that's really weird that nobody answers is how the police was notified. The whole thing with the church, the online church, one person saying she went to church online, she didn't go in person. The other people saying she didn't show up for church, and the friend noticed she wasn't there and called her family. Now, sometimes people are saying that that friend went by the house and didn't see her. Then she contacted the family. That's all messed up, because we don't know. They haven't never, and the police aren't going to come out and clarify anything for us. They are sticking to their story that they say she didn't show up for church. A friend at church notified the family. The family went over there, and then the family called the police within 5 minutes. All that is confusing, because they're not telling, something don't line up there. Either she went to church in person or she did online, but you can't do both. And if you're doing online church, but they said she did online church, but they're not trying to clarify anything. Yeah, most people don't think they're going to get kidnapped, and I'm sure she lived 84 years and it never happened before, and they live in a nice, quiet neighborhood, and it's dark there. There's no street lights, because I heard one of them say that there's stargazers out there, so they like to keep all the neighborhoods real dark so people can go out and stare at the stars. Oh, I don't know, but it's all confusing about, I think they need to start back from the beginning and really look at that. It kind of leads you to that brother-in-law person. How did they know so quickly that something happened to her? I don't think it was that she didn't show up for church, because like I said, so many people said she did online church, so I don't know. And then and my friend and I was talking about this, if my friend who always comes to church every Sunday doesn't show up one Sunday, and she's elderly, I'm not going to immediately think she was kidnapped and I need to call her family. I would think, oh, I guess she got sick at the last minute, decided not to come, so I will call her. I wouldn't just drive to that woman's house. I would call her. If she didn't answer the phone, I would leave a message and say, hey, I didn't see you this morning. Is everything okay with you? I didn't know if you got sick or whatever and didn't come. I would hang up. I would wait an hour, 2 hours, call back. I wouldn't necessarily go right to somebody's family and call them. So that's why I think something ain't jiving with all of that right there. And then it puts it on, and I think they contacted the brother-in-law and the sister because they lived there. But who knows? I don't know which family member the cop just wanted to say it was family. But yeah, somebody said the church said she hadn't been to church since the pandemic. And then the church said, we don't even know who in the church contacted somebody. So see, stuff like that, it don't jive out from the get-go. So they need to go back to the get-go and figure out how was this even reported, because don't just think it was reported and it's a crime and we'll go from here. But so it looks a little iffy of how they were. Somebody said, I thought the person from church called and no answer, so she called the family. That's what I'm hearing, but how did that happen if she only goes to online church? So all that's iffy. I don't know what the motive was for anything. We don't know. But yeah, where is Savannah Guthrie's husband in all this? Well, that's a question too, because I heard he has a lot of ties to, let's just say, the Epstein files. That's what some people are reporting. I don't know anything about the Epstein files. So he has not been mentioned. Savannah's husband has not been mentioned this whole thing. Okay, Pam Allen said someone is wrong about the church. I don't know what the thing is about the church. But somebody was asking me, do I think she's still alive? I have no idea, y'all. I would hope she is. Unless they purposely killed her, I don't think her heart would kill her right that quick. I think she would still be alive. Unless, yeah, how would they know the family's phone number? I don't know, unless it was a family friend and they looked up, I don't know. But that's what a lot of people are saying she did church online. I have no idea if she did or not, because they're not clarifying that. And when the sheriff at the first day or two was asked, he just would say family or something. They wouldn't even clarify who drove her home. Oh, somebody said they check in online at the church service. I don't know if they did that, because somebody said that church had 3,000 people in it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just repeating what I've heard online. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know. There's a lot of fake stuff out there. Something is going on, and we don't know. So I'm just throwing out there. I am not drawing conclusions. I didn't make any of this up. I have read this online. So, and there's a lot of fake stuff online to throw people off. So I don't know. I did just hear before I came on that the son-in-law that everybody keeps looking at out there, that he already got him a lawyer. So that's kind of strange too. If you're not guilty, why you got to get a lawyer already? But I don't know what they were looking for when they took her car in. I don't know. I wonder, did they, They know every time the garage door went up and down because they could tell that somehow. Uh, oh, I think Alexis or something told them something about the garage door went up or down. So they know that. So I don't think they put her in her own car and drove her somewhere because the garage door would have went up or down and they didn't say that part. So why they hauled her car in for forensics, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't read any AI on this stuff. Yeah, and like, yes, see, Marcy said, never heard of a ransom going on for so long. Exactly. If you take somebody for ransom, you don't want to like sit around and like take care of that person for weeks. You're going to try to make a deal quickly, and you're going to contact the family. Hey, we got Mama. You want her back? Give me some money. And but that has not happened. And all these cryptic messages and all of that. There's so many quackpots out there doing this. Oh, yeah, I did hear that they took the black box out of the car. Maybe they wanted to see where she had been in the last, I don't know if you can tell that or not by your car. So I don't know what kind of car it was. And I'm not familiar with that, but the case up here where the person killed their wife and cut her up in little pieces and all that. Now they used his car because his car was one of them sophisticated kind that documented everything, so they knew every place that car went, and he chopped her up and put her in all these dumpsters. So they had it all the addresses. They knew everywhere that car went because that car was kind of sophisticated. Now, somebody said maybe she went in the house. When she opened the garage door to go in, I have heard of people sneaking in and hiding behind the, maybe that's why they took it too, because maybe he watched her go in, supposedly. The son-in-law dropped her off. He watched her till she got in the house. So I don't think anybody could sneak in the garage at that point. But that is a possibility that, it's so dark out there. As soon as she went in, before the door closed, it was up for 2 minutes. Maybe the brother-in-law or the son-in-law drove off, and then the guy just jumped in the garage, and then the garage door closed. Now, some people, when they go in their house, they lock their garage door. Not the big door that goes up and down, but the door that goes into the house. So that way, if anybody got in your garage, they wouldn't be able to get in your house. But a lot of people never lock that door. I always kept mine locked. Oh, and they did say the back door was wide open. So, that looks fishy too. So I don't know, I don't know. Somebody could have been hiding in the house when she came home because it was a big house. They could have been all the way on the other end. And she was probably at that late time at night, she was probably focused on her bedroom, her bathroom, that, she'd already ate. She wouldn't be in the kitchen. They could have been back in the back, one of them back spare rooms or something that maybe she didn't use, and they would have never known it. I heard that the son-in-law that lives out there got a lawyer. I don't know. That's all speculation. Now, somebody told me that the other daughter, Annie, actually put a thing out today. I didn't see that, so I don't know if Annie put a plea out or not. Somebody was saying she did. Yeah, they won't, yeah, her phone is not with her. They left her phone. They left her purse, wallet, whatever, I think. They left everything. They left her Apple Watch. So, yeah, I don't know if she had her pajamas on. I'm sure she probably wore pajamas or something. I don't know if that's what took long. They told her to put some clothes on. They taken her somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if they took her out in her pajamas. Somebody said, live now, FBI put out a statement, no suspect, no leads. They're going to say that regardless. They're not going to tell you we got a suspect, because then people's going to want to know who they are. They're not ready to release that yet. So, I don't know what, I don't know if Annie put something out there. I just heard she did. There's so much fake stuff out there, y'all. And with AI, they can get somebody's picture and make that picture look like it's talking and saying all this stuff. But it's not even true. Because I got watching this and that, and I'm like, this ain't even true. Because I know this ain't true. Yeah, I hope it doesn't end up being a cold case. Whoever has her will slip up. So they will slip up. They're, unless they're professional, they're going to slip up. And I don't think it's an educated person that took her, because that's what the ransom notes. It's an educated person that did these ransom notes. And to use crypto to hide them while you're sending them and stuff, that is all very sophisticated, and it's got to be a smart person. So, yeah, they're only going to tell us what they want us to know. Oh, somebody said that the FBI is asking for the public's help. I would have to hear the FBI say that, which they do a lot of times ask for the public's help. When they've exhausted a lot, they will come on, and they've always asked for the public's help. If you see something, say something. Was anybody at those gas stations in the middle of the night and all that? Yeah, Karen says, normally in a kidnapping, they're going to get in and get the heck out. They're not going to stay 41 minutes in a stranger's house. If it was a stranger, they're not going to stay in there that long. But I don't think they were in there that long. I think once the doorbell came down, they probably waited 20 minutes outside to see if anything was going to show up. And when nothing did, then they could go in and wake her up and do all that kind of stuff. So maybe they were only with her 20 minutes. And 20 minutes, you're getting an elderly person that doesn't move very fast up and out. So 20 minutes is still a long ways, Yeah, I know Savannah came on today asking for the public's help. Somebody knows something. I don't think it's one person that did this. Somebody knows something. I don't think it was a home invasion because they didn't take anything. So they already said that. But I think they should start, if they have not done lie detector tests, I think they should start with lie detector tests from the inside out. All right. Well, I guess we've talked about this enough tonight. We don't know if you know anything. If you got any legitimate, if they come on and tell me something, yeah, nothing was taken from the house that we know of, except her. And people only take somebody for money or something else, and with them sending something, ransom notes to a TV thing, they want it to be broadcast. They're doing it for that reason and not necessarily money. But yeah, they have no communication. And that's the other thing. The big thing about those notes, they don't tell the family how to pay the money, where to pay the money. Where's mama? Where's to the exchange? It's got to be some two-way communication if you're trying to get money out of somebody's family. Yeah, if they just want the money, and that's the other thing. They gave 2 different deadlines. That's weird. Give one deadline. I want this much money here. You can find your mama in this storage unit, whatever. Go get her. Uh, but they haven't told them anything. Let me see what to say. Let's see. All right. Well, let's see. Well, I was trying to read these comments. Somebody said the FBI said they no longer have communication. Yes, they only had these two notes, and I'd say I'm thinking they're not legitimate, and they could know that the FBI's on them, and they're going to get caught. So if it's not legitimate, they may not send any more notes because they're going to get caught. And if you get caught sending these fake notes, just like the one they arrested some guy in California, tried to send a fake note, and they caught him, and he got arrested. So it does not look good. The person that was arrested was trying to send a fake note, and they got caught right off the bat. So okay, Joanne Quesada said a retired detective said they don't believe she was kidnapped because they wouldn't hang on to her. That's exactly what I said. If you kidnap somebody, you are not going to take care of them for weeks. It's day 9. You're going to like, hey, I got mama. You want it? Here it is. Let's do the exchange. It would have been done before the FBI ever got involved. So nothing adds up, y'all. Nothing adds up on this one. I really am. I'm looking forward to the outcome because I really am curious of what in the heck, because this is all over the place. All right. Nothing adds up. Nothing makes sense. You can't make sense sometimes of crazy situations. Organized crime. Yeah, it could be all to get back. Maybe that other daughter, Savannah, maybe somebody had beef with her. We don't know. They brought that up a couple times. Yeah, somebody said I think they want her inheritance. I don't think that. Only because, I mean, her daughter, all her kids, I think, did very well for themselves. The mama, I think her husband died when the kids were young. So I don't know where she would have gotten her wealth. Her kids all went to school, they're educated, they got great jobs, they have money. Mama, on the other hand, she lived in that house a long time. I'm sure it's paid for. I don't know if she ever worked or what she did, but I wouldn't think she's loaded. I mean, she's not, I wouldn't think she would be worth millions. I don't know where she would have got her money because she had to raise these 3 kids on her own with no husband. And so it just doesn't, I think all her kids are very well off, but I don't see that they did it, I don't think a kid did it for inheritance. Let me put it that way. I could be wrong. Maybe she's loaded. Maybe she did something. I don't know what she did. I don't know. Somebody said maybe the insurance was to go to Annie. I don't know. I think they all have money too, Margaret. They all are very well educated. They have excellent jobs, and I don't know. At this point, we can't assume anything. All right, I got to get off here. I think Tony wants to get over here in his seat. All right, we will carry on tomorrow, y'all. Talk to y'all then. Thanks for contributing, and hope we learned a little bit.